For nearly 3,000 years, man has searched for the lost Ark of the Covenant.
The Bible speaks of the Ark leveling mountains and laying waste to entire regions. Not something to be taken lightly. No one knows its secrets.
Jones, do you realize what the Ark is? It's a transmitter. It's a radio for speaking to God.
An army which carries the Ark before it is invincible.
The Ark, if it is their Eternis, then it is something that man was not meant to disturb.
It is protected by forces beyond imagination. It is desired above all treasures on earth by those who are good,
Trust me.
and those who are evil.
I'll tell you everything.
Yes, I know you will.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Hello, and welcome to Viva La Action. I definitely just fuck it, we're going again. Hello.
GG, go next.
Oh, shit. Hello, and welcome to Viva La Action, the action movie podcast where we're talking all things action movies. I fucked up the intro again. Let's go. Try number 3.
They're down the charm, baby.
Okay. Okay.
Compose
Hello,
yourself.
and welcome to Viva La Action, the movie podcast where we're talking all things action movies. The good, the bad, and the underrated. My dog is licking his nuts, and with me as always is my co-host, Grayson.
What up?
My name's Santi. I think we should just scrap it and go home.
Yeah. I think that's a wrap, folks.
Yeah, I don't know if the listeners can tell, but we haven't been in the same room for a month,
Yeah.
month and a half.
Yeah, that's about right.
Last time we were in the same room was for John Wick. Yeah, I was gonna say it was Mexican American, and that would have made a lot of sense, but no,
Yeah, no.
it was something good for once.
Yeah.
This is a how do we do this?
I don't know. I forgot.
It's okay. This is a movie podcast.
Yes, it is.
How are you doing?
I'm chilling.
I forgot that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're really on a roll.
We are.
No, I'm good.
You're good.
Chilling. Yeah,
You came back from a concert.
I did.
You were at a concert last night.
I was.
Do you want to tell the people what concert you were at?
It was Knuckle Puck, Real Friends, and Between You and Me. A lot of Midwest emo / pop punk shit. It was really good. We got to scream at the top of our lungs, silhouettes on the ceiling. I've been much better, but at least I'm healing, you know? So,
Great. Now
yeah.
this is going to get flagged for copyright.
Yep. So, my bad.
That's okay.
Shout out to Real Friends, because they said they were going to move to Albuquerque. So
All right.
it's because we're the best. We're not even the best city in New Mexico.
I disagree. Have you been to Santa Fe? It's laid out like
That's-
a dick.
That's true. It's because a bunch of artists built those roads.
They did. Well, and it was, I don't know. Anyway,
It's
we don't
a
have to
mess.
get into New Mexico history.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do we do here? Do we just talk about
We
whatever the fuck?
yeah. How are you doing?
I'm fine. If you haven't read the title of this episode, like if you closed your eyes and just hit play,
Yeah.
we're talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark.
A banger of a movie.
Banger of a film.
Yeah. It's honestly a film. That's what it is. It's not
is
a
a
movie.
film.
It's a film.
It's a film. It's cinema.
It is.
A cinématique. Les cinéma.
Moving picture.
Moving Pitches. It's from 1981 action-adventure film written by George Lucas and Lawrence Kasdan, and it is directed by one Steven Spielberg. I was
gonna say. I thought you were gonna say Steven Seagal. I was
No.
like, nope.
be a very different movie.
Yeah.
The movie stars Harrison Ford. I forgot what I'm doing. His name is Indiana Jones.
Oh boy.
It stars Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. It stars Karen Allen as Marion, Paul Freeman as Belloc, John Rhys Davies as Sala, and many others who co-star. The film has a 96% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes with a 96% audience score. Yep.
Add a little pizzazz.
The synopsis from IMDb, if you've somehow lived under a rock your entire life,
Yep.
Like you're Patrick Star, and you don't know what the movie's about, then here's the synopsis from IMDb. In 1936, archaeologist and adventurer Indiana Jones is hired by the U.S. government to find the Ark of the Covenant before the Nazis can obtain its awesome powers.
I hate those guys.
Hate them Nazis. Who doesn't?
Right?
Probably other Nazis.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Then
And Republicans. But
they do seem to like Nazis a lot.
yeah, so, you know.
They want to kiss them.
On the mouth with tongue.
With tongue. Just
sloppy style.
Right in their Nazi mouths. What do you think of it? I normally have a lot more energy for these episodes. For some reason, I'm just like...
It is my second favorite of the trilogy. I do not include the fourth one because that was hot garbage. Second favorite of the trilogy. First favorite is Holy Grail. It still holds up. It's like just such a good movie. And there's a reason why I watch it or watch a Indiana Jones like just once a year on my birthday, because they just like their rewatchability is through the fucking roof.
It is. It's hard. I feel like it's hard to talk about it because it's just like you're so used to it now, like existing in just like pop culture and just like everything references it, and it's like so it's like hard to like think about it just like as a movie on its own.
Yeah.
But I can't even think of like the first time I watched it. And what's funny now this is such an obscure and very what's the word I'm looking for? Specific thing to me. But like when I watch like Raiders of the Lost Ark, all I can think about is the Lego Indiana Jones video game.
Yes.
On like I think I had it on Nintendo DS or something like that.
There you go.
And so now like every scene to me, I just see it like in Lego form.
Yep. I know. I had it on the Wii.
Yes.
And yeah. Oh, same. That whole bar scene. I remember that vividly in the Lego game.
So it's funny because like I've seen Raiders. I've seen the most. Temple of Doom. I think I've seen like I don't know a handful of times, and Last Crusade I've seen. Probably the same, probably a handful of times. I think, so funny, I mean, here's a funny little insight into our history. Because we weren't roommates in college, but you spent a lot of time at my dorm.
Yes.
As
we
freshmen.
were basically roommates.
Basically roommates. You didn't even have a key to the building. You would just walk in.
I did, but that's because that one door was broken.
Yeah.
So I would just wander in and then knock on your door and be like, hey, fuckers.
Yeah. Sometimes you didn't even knock. You just walked in. But... the first year for your birthday, we surprised you and like took you to this restaurant to meet your family.
Oh yeah.
And then afterward, we were like, let's go, because your tradition was to like watch Indiana Jones. And I think the first year we watched Last Crusade.
Yeah.
And we were watching it, and I was sitting in a chair like all the way back. And you guys were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I was like, I'm just gonna lay down on the bed. And I slept through like most of it. And I still feel bad to this day, so I'm sorry I slept through
whatever
Last Crusade on your birthday.
Look, you have dad syndrome, where you sit down in front of a movie, immediately pass out.
Yes, and then I remember when you guys turned it off, I was like, hey, I was watching that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you finished it. Did you?
No, we did.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. I just was dead ass asleep. I think I woke up as you were leaving, and I was like, bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I fall asleep really early.
Yes, because you're an old man.
I'm very old. I'm young in body, old in mind, and knees.
And back.
Back. And values.
Well.
Make me a sandwich, wife, or I'll hit you with the iron.
Iron?
Yeah, the iron.
Jesus.
Bang. So how do you rank them? The Indiana Jones movies.
For me, it goes Last Crusade, Raiders, Temple of Doom. But they're all very close. Yeah. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Temple of Doom isn't like the weakest of the three. And in some aspects, yes, but like, it's still really good.
It is really good. It's not as bad as the one you don't like to talk about.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's as good or worse than the one that's going to come out this year. But yeah, I think I'm probably the same. Raiders and Last Crusade are so hard for me because they're like so good.
Yeah.
That it's hard to like put one above the other. I think, I don't know, it's just hard because, again, like I said, Raiders is the one I've seen the most.
Yeah.
And it's the one with like the most references and like other things.
Yes.
So it's like, it's so easy to just like conjure that one in my brain.
Yeah.
But,
see, I'm just a big fan of Sean Connery.
Oh, who isn't?
And so I just having like, and him and Harrison's like just chemistry in that whole movie is so good.
Yeah.
Like he did such a good job playing Indy's dad that it was just believable.
Yeah, which is
very good.
It's funny because there's like 12 years between them, I think. Yeah, which is, I mean, Sean Connery's playing much, or he usually plays like his age, but I think Harrison Ford, like, I think Indiana Jones in Last Crusade is supposed to be a man in his like 40s.
Yeah.
Or late 30s, 40s, and Harrison Ford is clearly a man in his 50s. But I mean, it's, you know, that's fine.
Yeah, that's whatever.
He still looks great.
He does.
Speaking of Harrison Ford, did you know he was not the first choice to play Indiana Jones?
Really?
Yes. This episode is going to be a lot of me regurgitating facts that other people have heard a million times before.
Excellent.
So just be prepared for that. I probably got nothing new to say. But,
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so they interviewed a whole bunch of people. Originally, they wanted a guy called Tom Selleck. You probably know him from being in lots of things and having a mustache.
Sure, yeah.
He's in Blue Bloods. Have you ever seen Blue Bloods? He's in Friends. He plays Monica's like older boyfriend. His name's Richard.
Oh, Richard!
Yes, yeah.
Yes, hey.
Oh my goodness.
Hush.
She doesn't like Tom Selleck. Yeah, so they originally wanted Tom Selleck, but he was signed on to be in motherfucking Magnum PI. So he was like signed on to that, and he couldn't commit to like the filming schedule. And originally, from what I watched, like the behind the scenes, whatever, because actually this is the first episode where I've actually bought a Blu-ray because I realized I didn't have the Indiana Jones movies on Blu-ray. I don't know how that happened, but I was like, all right, I'll go buy whatever. And so I was like watching the behind the scenes thing, which is, it's wonderful because it was shot in like the, I don't know, like early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
So it's got that like great like video grain to it, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of people like sitting in like a fake library.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But Spielberg said something along the lines of like, originally he pitched it to George Lucas and was like, we should just get Harrison, like, you know, he's the one who can do it. And George Lucas was like, no, I've worked with him on 2 other movies. I don't want to I don't want him to just be my fall guy or whatever. And Spielberg was like, all right, George, you fucking weirdo. And then once Tom Selleck dropped out, they ended up going with Harrison Ford anyway. But the other, what I thought was a fun little, like, could have been casting. So John Rhys Davies, who is Sala, he's the, you know, his like Egyptian friend. Yeah. Originally, they wanted Danny DeVito to play that.
Damn.
Which
that would have been so good.
It would have been great. I think now it probably wouldn't work as well because he's clearly not Egyptian.
No.
He's Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
But can you just imagine, like, he's like, he goes to fucking Egypt. He's like, hey, Indy.
Yeah. Oh my god, that would have been great.
And then I started digging, you know. It's like,
yeah.
But yeah, so I thought that was fun. Yeah. So I've got one other fun fact before we get into some more nitty gritty.
Hit me with it.
Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Do you know where his name comes from?
No.
So originally he was going to be Indiana Smith, which is fun because that's incredibly boring.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, it was Spielberg who was like, maybe just change that because it's the most horrible, it's the stupidest name I've ever heard. But Indiana actually came from George Lucas's dog. He had an Alaskan Malamute named Indiana, who was also the inspiration for Chewbacca.
Oh, I did hear about that. Yes,
yeah. He's like a rusty brown. Well, he was because he's unless he's the oldest living dog, he's very dead. But he had that like rusty brown kind of coloration.
Yeah.
And so he was both the inspiration for Indiana Jones and Chewbacca, which is fun.
That's incredible.
Have you ever? This is not related to the movie. It's kind of related.
Yeah.
There's a comic book. It's not canon anymore. It was like a Star Wars comic book where Indiana Jones. Oh fuck. Han Solo.
Yeah.
And Chewbacca crash land on Earth. And Han Solo dies, like whatever.
Yeah.
And then Chewbacca wanders off into the woods and becomes Sasquatch. And then Indiana Jones wanders upon Han Solo's body, and he's like, that guy kind of looks familiar. And then it like ends. That's the whole comic book. Yeah, it's from a few years ago. You should look that up.
A few years ago?
Yeah.
God, is it like a fan thing? Or
No, it was a published comic book. It's not canon. It's like a whatever, but yeah. People should look that up. It's very bad.
Yeah, that sounds...
It's also not a very long comic, because I just explained it in a sentence. But, anyway.
Interesting.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
It takes inspiration from old movie serials. So George Lucas was a big fan of, like... Because you see it, too, in Star Wars. Like, he was a big fan of, like, old, like... Buck Rogers and fucking... the Queen song. What's it called? Flash Gordon. He was a big fan of Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers and these old like Zorro serials and stuff like that. So originally he wanted to do like a sci-fi one, and then he wanted to do like an adventure one, and he didn't know like which one he wanted to do first. And he ended up going with Star Wars first. So then we got Star Wars. He was so stressed out from Star Wars, like he was just like having like a big old breakdown. He was like, I can't do it anymore. And, he was like, I want to jump off a cliff. And
damn, is he actually here? That's spot on.
That's my terrible George Lucas impression. Yeah. And so he went to Hawaii, and he had, he was having like a little vacay, just chilling.
Naturally.
And they were waiting for the box office numbers to roll in, because he was like, I don't know, Star Wars is going to do good, right?
Yeah.
And he was chilling with Steven Spielberg. And he pitched this idea to Spielberg about, like, this whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess they just, like, hammered out the story, like, on a beach in Hawaii.
Huh.
And as a result of that opening scene where they're in South America, was shot in Hawaii.
Oh!
Yeah, which is kind of fun.
That is kind of fun.
They do it in all of them, but I love the trope in the Indiana Jones movies of, like, opening on like the Paramount logo, and then it fades to like a real mountain. I always thought that was fun.
Oh, it's very cool.
I think that's great.
Yeah,
and I love that opening. Like, just that whole opening, I think is great.
Oh, it's very good.
I mean, of course, there's like the boulder thing, and like all that is fun. Although I'm gonna be real, I was watching it this most recent time, and I think when you watch something a lot of times, you don't like pick up on specific details because they just kind of pass you by. When you watch it again, like, and you're like really paying attention, when the boulder first starts rolling, if he would have just gone back, like if he would have just taken two steps back, there's a big old gap right there.
Yeah.
And he would have been fine.
Yeah,
like,
he would have
just waited.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I didn't even yeah.
I always think of that. I'm like, Indy, run the other way.
Yeah, just duck behind it. It'll roll over top.
Yeah.
And then you just saunter out.
Well, but I guess, does the boulder block the entrance?
Oh, it does.
Okay, so then I guess maybe he couldn't have. But he's probably another way out.
Probably. He's a resourceful guy.
Yeah. He would have figured it out. I just noticed that on this most recent.
Yeah.
What I also love about that opening is it's real spooky.
Oh, it is.
It's real spooky.
Yeah.
There's all the tarantulas on his back, which is real creepy. Apparently, real tarantulas. Mm-hmm. The guy, that's Alfred Molina, who plays he's Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man and a bunch of other stuff. He plays the guy that's got, like, his, like, little assistant guy.
Yeah.
He was saying in the behind-the-scenes thing that, like, originally they put, like, all the tarantulas on him, and he was trying to stand really still, but, like, all the tarantulas weren't moving. And they asked like the tarantula expert, which, like, how do you even fall into that position?
You're right.
You're just like a creepy guy who loves spiders.
Yeah.
And he was like, they asked him, and he was like, oh, it's because they're all males, and they're like, they've got nothing to do, so they're just standing around. He's like, if I put a female on you, they're going to go crazy because they're all going to try to mate with it.
Yeah.
And and Steven Spielberg was like, put a female on him.
Get a female on this man.
Get a lady on this man and let those spiders go fucking nuts. And so he put like a whatever, and that's why they're all like fucking dropping off of him and just going nuts.
Yeah.
I could not do that.
Oh God, no.
I would have a panic attack.
I would rather kill myself.
Yeah. And I'm not like, I'm very, like, I got a normal phobia of spiders.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't scream and cry when I see one, but I'm like, I don't want one in my mouth or whatever. So, I just couldn't imagine.
Oh, like, No. Same. Like, if I see a spider, right, I acknowledge it, and I'm like, okay, you're here, I'm here, don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
All right, I understand that you eat other bugs, and I appreciate that.
Here's another spider anecdote I have. This has nothing to do with the movie again. I
don't
know.
Whatever.
This is not,
It's a spider podcast now.
Spider podcast. Spider pod. Radioactive spider pod. So, one time, I was at work, right?
Yeah.
And my wife, before she was my wife, she sent me a text, and she was like, there's a huge spider in the house, right? Yeah. And I'm like,
can't be that big.
Can't be that big, right? Yeah. Like, she's exaggerating, like, whatever. Which, like, how very manly of me, to just assume my wife is exaggerating. And she's like, no, like, it's huge. And I'm like, all right.
Okay.
So then she sends me a picture, and I was like, whoa.
How big was it?
It was huge. It was like, if you were to, like, look at the underside of this mug, it could, like, spread out, like, along that. Yeah, it was
that's
huge.
Fucked up.
And I had to murder it, because it was just like, you can't come around here being that large.
No.
But I just will never forget the, like, first time I saw that, because we live in the desert, and there are tarantulas. Like, you don't see them that often, but they're there.
Yeah. They actually, they migrate through here.
They do, yes. And I think it was one of those, because it was massive.
Yeah.
And I was just like...
Buddy.
I've never been, like, not to, dick joke incoming, but, like, I've never been astounded by the size of something before.
Yeah.
And just seeing it and being like, that's enormous.
Yeah.
It was like, wow.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I didn't actually know that tarantulas migrated.
Yes.
That's a horrifying fact.
Yes, they're like birds.
Yeah. That terrifies me to my very core.
I mean, at least they at least they don't migrate like together. Like they're not like
that.
Like imagine a horde of like.
Oh God.
Like when you look up and you see like a bunch of geese.
Yeah.
Imagine you look down and you see like a thing of spiders.
Yeah, I would leave planet Earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would live on the moon.
Speaking of, I love. We're gonna jump all over the place, but I love. There's that scene where they discover like the Well of Souls.
Oh yeah.
And Sala looks down. He's like, Indy, why is the floor moving? And it's like, it has to be snakes or whatever, And I love that his solution to dealing with the snakes is just fucking torch them.
Yep.
It's just so brutal.
Just fucking
it's just like gasoline
and
yep. It's so fucking like I don't know if I think because obviously some of them are real snakes. I don't think they torched real snakes.
Oh God, no! I hope not.
It would be really funny if they were just like, we just hate snakes. Like we're just gonna fucking light them on fire.
Yeah.
I do love. Here's the thing about Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying this knowing that nerds on the internet are get mad at me, right?
Well, they can suck my ass.
Okay. Indiana Jones is kind of a dumbass.
A little bit, yeah.
He's not very coordinated.
Nope.
He's not a good fighter.
Nope.
He's constantly just stumbling into things.
Yeah.
And I just like that he's like a doofus, right?
Yeah.
Like he's a himbo.
He is.
Basically.
Yeah.
And I love there's a scene, I don't know why this amuses me so much, but there's a scene where they're like in Egypt, right? And they're in Cairo and Sala like takes Indy to like meet this guy who's going to translate like the hieroglyphics.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know why this just like amused me so much. There's a scene where the guy goes to show him like a part of it and Indy like puts his glasses on. I don't know why that like I just love the thought that he's a fucking action hero with short-sightedness.
Like, yeah, he's like, hold on, let me put my reading glasses
on.
on.
My readers on. This young Indiana Jones. This isn't like, fucking. I'm Russian and there's aliens. Indiana Jones. It's fucking.
He's
like 30 and he's wearing readers.
It is. It's very funny, and he just like always. Oh man, like the whole like airplane scene where he's just getting his ass beat by that very large man. He should have lost that. Yeah. Like, there's absolutely no way he should have won that. The only reason he did win that is because of the blender.
Well, yeah.
Thing.
Which I learned. I'm probably going to regurgitate this fact incorrectly, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
Yeah, all right, fine.
Supposedly that guy who gets, like, regurgitated, he also is in another Indiana Jones movie playing a very large man who also gets equally... Because there's a big guy in Last Crusade who gets, like... eviscerated in some way, and it's the same actor.
Oh,
yeah.
they were really doing casting. They're like, man, we need a big guy.
He's like, I'm the one big guy in Hollywood.
Yeah, like, hey, can we get that guy out of the closet real quick?
They're like, Arnie's not famous yet.
Yeah,
who do we have?
Let's get that guy again.
Get that guy. Get that freak.
yeah. But yeah, Indy is just like a big ole.
He's really good at taking a beating.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give him that.
Oh, yeah.
The man can just get hit a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I love that when he... So, first of all, he causes so much wanton destruction. Like, I love... He's not the kind of hero where, like, he comes in and he's, like, headshots, right? He's not John Wick, right?
No.
He walks in and he is just firing just, like,
wildly.
Willy-nilly. Yeah. And I love that his attempt to rescue Marion results in her bar being burnt down. Yeah. Like, it's 1,000% his fault.
Yeah, well,
like,
yeah.
And I just love that he just walks in and is immediately getting his ass kicked. Like,
yeah.
He's no help at all to anybody.
God, no. No, they dragged his ass across the bar.
Yeah. Speaking of Marion, so I feel like I'm just hitting you with a ton of fun facts here.
Yeah, that's fine.
I had nothing to do for a week, so this is what I did.
There you go.
So originally, right, so there's a line when he first meets Marion where she's, like, upset with him, right? And as a kid, I didn't understand... Like, I knew they had some kind of relationship, and it was clear that, like, he'd been, like, a jerk or whatever. Like, haha. Yeah. Well, supposedly, the, like, context that you're supposed to get is that they were together when she was, like, a teenager. So she was, like, 17, and he was in his 20s. Ooh. And so the context is supposed to be, like, you know, like, he, like, not took advantage... Well, I guess took advantage of her and, like, you know, whatever. Well, originally... George Lucas wanted Indy to be more of, like, a rapscallion, like, more of, like, a womanizer and whatever. Yeah. So he was going to have the age gap be, like, way bigger. And he was like, we should have it be, like, Indy's, like, 20 and she's, like, 11. And Steven Spielberg was like, she better not be.
Yeah, God, no. What the fuck?
That was his exact quote. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. It made me laugh really hard, where Steven Spielberg was just like, she better not be 11.
Yeah, good lord.
Yeah. George Lucas is a deeply weird man. And I thought everybody should hear that fact. I think in the final cut, that's, like, not the case. Yeah. But originally, George Lucas was like, let's have him be a statutory rapist.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, fun facts.
Yeah. Another fun fact, you probably already know this one.
Uh-huh.
The swordsman flipping his sword around like a million times. Yeah, and then Indy just shoots him. Mm. That was supposed to be like a whole fight.
Yes.
Yeah, but Harrison was sick that day. Mm. So he's like, can I just shoot him?
Yeah.
And it worked because it was very funny.
It is very funny. I do love that whole, because, like, that whole bit where they're in Cairo... And they're being chased by, like, the, like, Nazis and the like the guys who are helping them. I love that scene because it's, like, it's funny and it's, like, tense. Mm-hmm. But I think the star of that, like, whole bit is the monkey.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is a good monkey.
That's a very good monkey.
Very well trained. I think it's doing a lot of work.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
In the background that, like, you don't even, like... When you're paying attention to the monkey, it's very funny.
Oh, it is.
And it's funny because it's, like, it's clearly, like, the monkey's just doing monkey stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, it looks very intentional. Like, it's, like, grabbing people's faces and, like, doing funny stuff.
Yeah, it's doing monkey shit.
Fucking shout out to that monkey.
It's monkeying around.
Oh, my God! It's a capuchin, by the way. Capuchin monkey.
Yep.
I was going to say something else and I forgot.
Oh, I do love... Yeah, rip the monkey because he dies.
Yes, he does.
Because of the dates.
Yes.
And I love that whole scene where Indy picks one up, right, after we've seen them get poisoned. He's, like, tossing around, and they're talking, and he goes to, like, toss it so he can catch in his mouth, and what's his name? Sala grabs it. Mm-hmm. He looks at the monkey, and he just goes, bad dates.
Yeah. There's also there's a very funny line that I just noticed this most recent time I watched it, where Indy and Marion are like walking through the market, and he's got like the dates with him.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, have a date, and she's like ignores him, and then later he like hands it to her, and she's like, and it's like, I don't think you're supposed to. I think this was ad-libbed because it's like towards the end of the scene when it's like transitioning to another scene. But he hands it to her, and she's like, "What's this?" And he's like, "It's a date." And he says it like really weird. I don't know why it made me like, just like, "It's a date." Like, like to me that felt like Harrison Ford being like, "Don't you fucking know what a date is, you idiot?" Like,
yep.
Sorry, I was reading something.
You're good.
Speaking of Harrison Ford, I think he's great.
Oh, he's wonderful.
It's hard to imagine anybody else being Indiana Jones.
I know. Like, he just fits the role so perfectly. And he's just such a good actor.
He is a good actor, and he's very, like... He's charismatic without being, like... Like, he's charming, but he's not, like... I don't know how to put it. Like...
He doesn't have to try. He just is.
Right. He's very effortlessly charming.
Yeah.
And he's, like, rugged, but he's, like... He's, like, interesting to look at. Like, he's not, like, picture-perfect handsome. No. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's, like, he's what Chris Pratt wants to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
He's, like, funny, and he's charming, but he's also gruff. You know? I just think he's great.
Oh, he is. I heard that... I don't know if it was on the set of Star Wars or Indy. It could have been both. But during downtime, he would just, like, go around looking for, like, projects. He would like help people like build their houses or like do little construction projects because he just loved that shit. Like he would just like show up at somebody's house and be like, "Hey, I see you're working on your roof there, or putting in a door. You need a hand?" And they were like, "Yes."
Well, he was originally a carpenter.
Yeah,
he was because he worked. So George Lucas, the first movie he did was this movie called the first movie he did was this movie called THX 1138. Very exciting. It's like a weird post-apocalyptic whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the second movie he did was American Graffiti, which is this like teen car racing drama thing.
Yeah.
And it starred a young Harrison Ford. And Harrison Ford was like sort of an actor, but he was also kind of just like one of George's friends.
There you go.
And so he was like in that movie, and then he didn't really do a lot. And then he cast him for Star Wars, right? Because originally he was going to cast him. He wasn't going to cast him. He just asked him to come along to like do line reads with other people. And then he found that like he was the best one for Harrison Ford, for Han Solo.
Yeah.
And he was just like, all right, cool. Well, you're going to be in it. And Harrison Ford was like, bah! And he got paid, enough money to buy an island. And then, but I think originally he was going to work on Star Wars as a carpenter. Because that was his training.
Yeah.
And he just happened to be like a movie star. Which I think is very funny.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Because now when you see Harrison Ford, you're like, that's a movie star, right?
It is,
like he's like the biggest star in the entire world. But to just imagine him being like, I just want to work on the carpentry.
I want to do woodworking.
Like that's why he has that attitude where he just hates everything.
Yeah.
He's like, I just wanted to work with wood and I ended up being a billionaire or whatever.
Yeah. No, that's hilarious. I'm glad they hired him though, because fuck. Like you said, I can't see Indy as anybody else.
No, it's hard to, like, I think because if you see Tom Selleck, like, in roles at that time, I think he would have been okay. Yeah. But I think it's, like, one of those things where it's, like, it's hard to imagine the movie being any other way than what it is and it being as successful as it is.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like you can't, it'd be like having, like, I don't know, Pulp Fiction without Samuel L. Jackson, right? It's maybe it would have worked, but it's like it's hard to see it working as well without
without him.
And what I think too is good about Indiana Jones, because like I think what's funny about it is like for the time it's very unusual because late 70s, early 80s, it was like you were still getting like aside from Star Wars, you weren't really getting like that kind of movie being made anymore. Like because Indiana Jones is a throwback, right?
Yeah.
Like now we think of it as being a thing like that we throw back to, but even at the time it was like a throwback to something even older.
You're right.
So it is funny now, like watching it and like it being what the filmmakers at the time remember a serial being like, because I watched a couple of the like serials that some of them a lot of them are like 4 hours long, so I was like, not gonna watch the whole thing.
Yeah, but
I watched some parts of like Spy Smasher and one of the Zorro serials. They're so fucking boring. Yeah. Like, I'm not one of those guys who's like, old movies are boring, because I love old movies. Yeah. But fuck me, they're boring. Like, yeah. And like, I get that the point of them was like, you paid 20 cents and you walked in and you watched like one part of it, and then you came back next week and it was kind of like early television. Yeah. But goddamn. Yeah. Boring as hell. So when you watch Indiana Jones now, you're like, okay, what's cool about it is they took that like format and they just cut all the fat out of it. Just like, because it moves so quick.
Oh, it does.
Like for a movie of its time, it's just like bang, bang, you know? Yeah. Like, because it opens with the boulder thing and then it's like next scene he's, you know, at school or whatever, but then like next scene after that he's in a fight in a bar. Like it's like it wastes zero time.
It does. I love that he is a professor because of how we were talking about like he's just like a big doofus. Yeah. But he also is like a college professor. Right, yeah. Which makes him look smart. But then I think the instant he takes those glasses off, he loses all integrity and like intelligence, and he's just like whip. Yeah. Whip and artifact. Yes. And I could never remember which movie it was in, but it's this one, and I love that one woman that sits in the front row. Oh yeah. With I love you written on her fucking eyelids, and she has to blink a few times because he just can't fucking read it. He's like
squinting at her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was it made me laugh because like now when like actors train for like a role, right? There's always this big deal made out of like, oh, they went to like munitions training and they did jujitsu and they did car racing, and there's this like behind the scenes where they're wearing like tactical, like Keanu's wearing tactical gear and he's at the firing range or whatever. It was funny in this because they were like, yeah, Indy did some like whip training with like a whip guy, and it cuts to this like, you know, 1970s like behind the scenes footage, and it's just him like standing like in the like, you know, backlot of like Warner Brothers or whatever, and he's just swinging a whip like at no one in particular, like there's no one around him, he's just like doing whatever. Like that's his training. Just a guy being like, here you go.
Yeah, the whip guy was like, here, you take this. I got something else I gotta do. All right, so you figure this out, and I'm sure you'll do great.
And it's like, he's wearing, you know, just like a loose shirt and some jeans, and he's just like whipping. It's very funny. And like, that's training in the 70s. They're like, here's a glass of milk and a whip. Go crazy.
If you can make a crack, you win $1 million.
And what's funny, too, when you watch like the behind the scenes of Indiana Jones, or really any movie that Harrison Ford's been a part of, dude is blazed 24/7. Like, he is always lit up, and it's so like when you know that and you watch stuff behind the scenes, and he's just like, we're playing Indiana Jones, and you're like, oh, there he is,
Harrison Ford.
He's just lighting it up all the time. But
I'd love to smoke a bowl with fucking Harrison Ford.
I'm sure it'd be a lot of fun.
Oh man,
I would not get in a plane with him though.
Oh god,
when
no.
He's flying, that man crashes all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved that his idea of training was just whipping in like an empty parking lot.
It is very funny. It's a great image.
But what it is, I mean, he does pull it off. Like I think the whip is such a like inventive, like hero weapon. Yeah. Right? Because like, and like, props to George Lucas. The man knows how to invent like a heroic thing.
Oh yeah.
Like the lightsaber is such a brilliant idea.
Oh, it's so good.
And to then counter that with like Indiana Jones, who's got a gun and a whip. Like, that's
Yeah.
just a great
But like he
combo.
never really even like uses the gun all that much.
No, well, it's always out of bullets, or it's missing, or
No,
it's
that's
like,
because he doesn't fucking aim.
yeah, he's firing it like
Yeah.
all loosey goosey.
Oh,
I'm
God.
convinced he doesn't know how to actually shoot a gun. 'Cause,
Oh,
like,
God,
whenever
no.
you see him shooting it, it's just like
Like,
shooting
yeah.
wildly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whip is great, and
Yeah.
it is fun. Like, there are moments where you see it's Harrison Ford like whipping, right?
Yeah, oh,
and
yeah.
he's doing his best.
Yeah.
But it is funny when it like cuts to the back of him and it's clearly a different man. Like
Yeah.
whipping, like a
Yep.
guy who, like a cowboy or whatever. you
Yeah.
know?
Who actually knows how to use that shit?
How to use a whip.
Whip.
I love. You don't get it as much in the other movies, but what I love about this movie is I think there's a great counter to Indiana Jones in this in Belloc, who's like the snivelly French archaeologist.
Yes.
And what I love about him is he's this very like, buttoned up, like snooty, like whatever. And he's like the counter to Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And so to counter him, they just make Indy this just like grubby idiot, which is like, it's great, but it is funny when you see them in the same room. And there's a great scene where like, it reminded me of the scene from Fast Five, where The Rock pulls up to like arrest Dom Toretto, and then he's like, "This is Brazil," and everyone pulls a gun out. There's a great. I think it's an homage to Fast Five is an homage to this, where Indy goes to like threaten Belloc, and just everyone in the room pulls a gun out.
Yep.
And it's like 1,000 people just all pointing at Indy.
Strapped.
And then he gets rescued by Salah's kids, which I thought was very funny.
That is also
and he's like better than the United States Marines.
Yep. And you're like, yep. Sure.
There's also a reference. I don't know if anybody cares about this. There's a reference to Lawrence of Arabia. There's a bunch of them, but there is a reference to Lawrence of Arabia, like the scene after this where you see the dead monkey. And there's like the fan. That's like a shot that's from Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Interesting.
That's for my film nerds.
There you go. Shout out film nerds.
Shout out film nerds. I watched Lawrence of Arabia one time.
So you're basically...
I'm basically Steven Spielberg now.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. If you can make it through it, it's 4 hours long.
Oh, good lord.
But it's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's very good. I think if you like Indiana Jones and you like wanted to watch like all of them together, you could watch Lawrence of Arabia.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm off on a tangent.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all all this podcast is tangents.
Yeah, it's just tangents.
Yeah.
I also love that had Indy not interfered, I'm pretty sure the outcome. So I'm going to steal this joke that I heard on a different show. But
yeah.
I love the idea that had Indy not interfered in the Nazis' plan, the outcome basically would have been the same. Because either they wouldn't have found the Ark and they would have lost the war.
Right.
Or they would have found the Ark, opened it, and they all would have died anyway.
Yeah.
Which I think is great.
Oh, no, it makes 100% sense.
Yeah. Because ultimately it's like, Indy just could have just not been there.
Yeah, right. Well, and I mean, I don't even think... I mean, part of it was that he wanted to beat the Nazis to it. But also, like, the way that his dad raised him, like... He just wanted to find that thing. Yeah. Like, so bad.
Yeah. And I do love, like... I like the thought of Indiana Jones as a character who's, like... He just cares so much about, like, history... that he's willing to just, like, kill Nazis for it.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
It's great.
I love the... I just keep saying I love. But it's hard to not love everything about it. Like, it's hard to criticize this movie. Because, like I said, it's, like, it's so ingrained in everything.
It is.
And it's, like, it's hard to, like, see it for, like, its parts.
Yeah.
But one of the things I love the snivelly, like, greasy Nazi.
Oh, yeah.
Who is just the worst.
Oh, he's awful.
Horrible. He's always sweating.
he's just wet.
He's wet the whole movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe you wouldn't be so wet if you didn't walk around the desert in a weird leather outfit. Like...
Yeah. Yep.
And I love that he has, like, the thing burn up. That guy gets fucked so many times. Like, he gets, like, the fucking, like, what do they call
it?
The pendant, like, burned into his hand.
Yeah.
And he gets, like, fucking eaten alive by the Jesus ghosts or whatever, and he gets like,
Yeah,
that guy just gets it so bad.
He
so
does.
many times.
I love that Indy's idea to stop them after they've stolen the Ark and they're like taking it to wherever.
Yeah.
Was to just blow it up.
Yeah, just with a rocket launcher.
Yeah. He's like, what's God to a fucking RPG?
Speaking of, I think because there's a lot of action sequences. I think the best one is that like convoy chase.
Yes.
Where he's going from like truck to truck.
Yep.
It feels very reminiscent of Mad Max, like
Yes.
Fury Road, where he's like, he starts on one truck and then he's like underneath one.
Yeah.
Very fun sequence in the Lego game. There's that great shot where he's like hanging on by the whip.
Yep.
And he's like being dragged by the car. That's great. Looks real dangerous.
Oh yeah. It does.
You fully believe any of those stuntmen could have died.
100%. And the whole fight in the cab of the truck with the Ark.
Yes.
That was the first time I watched that movie, I was like there's no way he comes out of this on top. Yeah. Like they just keep coming. Mm-hmm. He does get shot.
He does.
And then he just throws the guy out the window. Which a lot of these people die in just some of the most brutal ways.
He's a killer.
Oh yeah.
Indiana Jones has a huge body count. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever tallied it, but it's enormous.
It's massive.
Like, he's just like no remorse either.
Nope.
Like, he's laughing about it. He's having a great time. He's just kicking Nazis off a truck. They're getting run over.
Which, I mean,
he turns that one guy into a smoothie.
Yeah. I had that Lego set.
Did you?
I did. The airplane. Oh, it was so cool.
There's a very good... So, speaking of that, there's a documentary, and it's called... shit. It's called... I think it's called Raiders! ! And it's about these... It was this group of kids who, throughout their like childhood and teenage years, they made like a shot-for-shot remake of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Wow.
Like, just using like whatever they had with them.
Yeah.
And it culminated in, as adults, they like wanted to finish it. Yeah. And they did it by like doing like fundraising like a bunch of money to finally shoot the like plane scene where like the guy gets shredded and then the plane explodes. And there's a great scene in that movie of them like trying to recreate that and like trying to get the explosives to work and all that stuff. Great documentary if you can track it down. But that whole scene is so impressive. Like, it is. The guy getting shredded and then the plane exploding and just like that whole... It just starts and then just goes and just like does not finish like...
Yeah. I love that Marion gets to sit in the plane and just mow down Nazis. Oh.
It's so good.
That was awesome.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's like, as she's mowing him down, there was like one that kind of got away and he starts running and he's shooting and she just unloads just like 30 to 40 bullets into that poor dude.
And what's funny is during that whole thing, Indy's just getting his ass kicked.
Yep. Yeah.
I love that it just keeps cutting back to just him just getting punched in the face.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny too because like when that guy like walks out of the whatever shed. Yeah. And he sees Indy like beating up the pilot. And Indy finishes beating up the pilot. He then turns, sees the big guy, and you can just see, like, he's not like, oh, this is, I have to fight another guy. He goes, I'm going to get my ass beat.
Yeah. And I love the guy's like, come on!
Can I say he has a great mustache?
He does. That guy has a great stash.
Good.
He's like what you imagine, like if you imagine like an old-timey boxer,
yes,
and they're holding their hands like this, like put him out. That's what you imagine, just an enormous mountain of a watermelon head guy with a big old mo. Yeah, that guy's great. I want that guy to hang out with.
Yeah, I agree that action scene, that's probably the best one.
Probably.
I'm trying to think of the events. I do like the like little street chase through Cairo. I think that's really fun, and I like that Marion hides in the basket.
Yes.
And then the monkey's like, hey, in here, jackasses. And she's like, shoo, shoo. And then they just pick it up and start running with it.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny that they didn't like take her out of the basket and take her. They just took the basket.
Yeah. Just convenient. You know?
And then Indy was chasing her down, and he gets to that square where everybody has a basket.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, fuck. And he just starts harassing people.
Yeah, just people who are trying to make a living.
Yeah.
Shopkeeps.
Yeah, it was so good. I think the thing I like most about these movies is the lore.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, I was not raised Christian whatsoever.
No.
I don't even know if there's any amount of truth to any of this crap. But I like how they figure it out, and like the stories behind like all of it, right? Like especially in like Last Crusade, where Indy has his dad's journal and he's trying to like piece it together, and they're in the library in Italy, and they find the Crusader guy.
Yeah.
It's all so cool.
I do love, we're not talking about the third one, but there is a thing I love about the third one, which is that they finally cross that like cavern, and he has to take the leap of faith and all that stuff. And they go in the room, and there's just a guy in there.
Yep.
Like, I know the point is that guy is like immortal or whatever, but I like the thought that guy has just had to go to work every day. Like he's got a room or something that he like retreats to.
Yeah, he's like he gets up in the morning, he pours his coffee, and he's just sitting there reading the paper, and he's like,
anybody today?
Nope.
No?
Yeah, all right.
Well, more dead Nazis.
Yep. He also just has some of the best lines when after Indy gets into that room, and then the Nazis follow him in, and the guy like picks the most like eloquent looking goblet. He's like, "Oh, it's fit for a king," and he drinks from it, and then he turns to dust.
Yeah.
And the Crusader guy just goes, he chose poorly. And then Indiana Jones, the actual smart idiot, finds the actual, drinks it, and then he just goes, "You've chosen wisely."
Yes.
And
it's wonderful.
That was it.
They're all great.
They're fantastic. And yeah, that last scene when they open up the Ark, terrifying.
It is terrifying. And like for a kid's movie, like,
yeah.
Because this was, so Temple of Doom is PG-13, right? Yeah. And the reason is because like they could not agree on like a rating. Yeah. Because they were like, it's not quite an R, but it's not, like, I mean, it's like too scary for kids, right? So they kind of came up with PG-13 to like bridge the gap. Yeah. Raiders is PG, like full and true. So it's funny now to watch it and because our standards for PG have changed so dramatically. And there's just like Nazis melting. And it's like terrifying. Yep. Because it's like most of the movie you're like, that's violent, but it's like not that whatever. And you see that, you're like, whoa!
Well, even like the special effects for like the ghosts that are coming out.
It's scary.
Like that one that like is like the woman and then like face changes scared the shit out of me.
And it's pre-digital effects. So that all that stuff is like blue screen and like stop motion and all, like the guy melting, that's like a stop motion thing, right? Like it's like I didn't get to the part where they like explained exactly what it is, but from what I understand it was like it's like a wax thing and then it like melted and like transformed and still it looks amazing.
Oh,
like,
it's so good.
And it's way scarier than any like death in a modern movie. Because he's just like he fucking melts. Like,
he does. Like
his eyeballs melt out of his head. It's terrifying.
I was about to say like that death and then the other French asshole. Yeah. Like their deaths are just so ingrained in my head because they're just so visceral. Yeah.
It's way scarier than the alien from the fourth one.
Oh, 100%.
Where her eyes just burn out or whatever.
Like, yeah, it's like whatever. Yeah. Right? Like even the death in the third one. Yeah. Right, where after he drinks out of the goblet and like turns to dust, that's like he like ages so fast and just I was like, ugh. Yeah.
He ages like people who don't moisturize.
Exactly.
Use
lotion, folks.
Use lotion, and for God's sake, put some sunscreen on.
Please.
Okay?
Yeah.
The sun is deadly.
It is.
If you're standing in the shade, I don't know why I'm getting into this.
Yeah.
If you're standing in the shade, there is still a certain level of SPF that is damaging your skin.
Yeah.
Put a little sunscreen on in the morning, a little bit in the afternoon, you'll be good.
Yeah. Like, even though you're in the shade, UV and infrared light can pass through leaves.
Yes.
Like, unless you are standing between, like, a building and the sun, like, you're fucked.
Yeah. Skin cancer's real.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what Hugh Jackman told me.
Yeah. And I should know because I'm a fucking redhead.
Yeah.
I am real susceptible to it. I once burned through a tinted window.
We are in a dark room right now. Like, there's a window, but, like, for the most part, this room is not lit.
Yeah. Grayson
is beet red.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm dark and chocolatey, baby.
Hell yeah.
That's not true. I'm mostly, I don't know. What color would you say that is? It's like a smudgy brown.
It's brown. Oh, the other scene that I really love all the way, it's the bar scene where it's the drinking game.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yes.
It's so good. I love that Marion kind of like fakes him out.
Yeah. Talk about somebody who's beet red.
I know.
That dude, she's fucking drinking with.
Oh my God. I thought he was going to die.
Yeah.
Did he? Was that him dying?
No. I think he passes out.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have been surprised if he died.
I love that he's just like, whoop.
Whoop. Yeah, he like finished it and he's like super proud of himself. He puts the shot glass down and he's like, take that. And then just.
Yep.
It's the Gimli effect.
Yes. John Rhys Davies.
There it is. We've connected the dots.
We have connected the dots. The dots have connected. And now, oh no, now the dots are fucking.
Oh God.
Oh, it's graphic.
Oh Lord.
I like that Indiana Jones has no time for frolicking.
No.
For the most part. Like, he bangs that Nazi in the third one. But like,
yeah.
I like that in this one he's like, there's no time.
Yeah, we can't fuck. We got artifacts. I mean, Marion and him kind of make out in this one.
Oh, that's true. They do. Yeah.
But I don't think they do it.
Well, I mean, they give birth to Shia LaBeouf, so.
There you go.
Yeah. Terrible.
Awful. Yeah.
I like that they're probably just going to ignore that in the new one, which I think is very funny.
Hope so.
They're like,
Retcon.
LaBeouf, who cares?
Yeah.
Here's Phoebe Waller-Bridge. He's hanging out with his niece for some reason.
Yep. Yeah, just retcon that shit real quick.
Yeah, please. I don't want to see Shia LaBeouf in the new one.
Neither do I.
It's not a cameo that I'd cheer for. No, that's all I'm saying.
Nope.
Anyway, Raiders of the Lost Ark is a... Oh, no, wait. I already did that. I feel like we've barely talked about the movie. I've mostly just screamed about wearing sunscreen.
No, I in terms of like action was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, it's clear that it's like one of George Lucas's like brainchilds.
Yeah.
Even though it was directed by Spielberg, obviously Lucas had huge hand in all of it. But the action is great. It's all well timed. It's for the time. It's choreographed really well.
Can I say something controversial?
Go for it.
I think Raiders of the Lost Ark, as a movie, is better than A New Hope.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's more watchable.
By a mile.
I think it moves at a quicker pace.
Yeah.
I think the characters are more interesting and likable. Nothing against Mark Hamill.
Right.
You know, I love me some Mark Hamill.
Same.
But I think Indiana Jones is a way better protagonist.
Yeah.
I think it's a funnier movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think it's... Because, like I said, it was written... The story is by George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, but it was written by Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote Empire Strikes Back. Oh. And then it was edited by this other guy. What's his name? Philip Kaufman. Also worked on the story a little bit, but... Yeah, I think it just has that, like... It's like peak George Lucas. Like, it's just like... It's him at his best.
Yes.
Like, I think it was before he got weird.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's always been weird. But it was before he got real weird. You know? And
Yeah.
I think it was before people just let him do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
Like, I think Spielberg really reined him in. And
Yeah.
I think
It's like
Kasdan reined him in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just great. I think
Oh,
it's...
it is. It's fantastic. And there's a reason, because I also heard somewhere that Harrison Ford hated Star Wars.
Yes.
He hated it.
Mm-hmm.
And he much preferred Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And I can see why.
Yeah.
Like, I agree. Like, Raiders, I would watch... Like, if somebody was like, hey, do you want to watch New Hope or Raiders? I'd be like, Raiders.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about New Hope.
Nah.
Right? Now, if you said Empire and Raiders, I'd be like, well, can we just do both?
Right.
Because Empire is so good.
Yeah.
Um,
Not to compare apples and oranges. I just
right.
thought
yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, but I think we can compare them because they are of the same mind.
Right. Yeah.
Right? They came from the same dude.
Yeah, and they're both like these like homages to like movies of a bygone era, right? They're
Right.
like homages to like pulp storytelling
Mm-hmm.
and serialized storytelling, and they're like, you know, they boil down what you remember about those stories into like the most potent form.
Yeah.
But I think Raiders is like the best example of like that kind of thing. Like this
Yes.
like pulp adventure, like, you know, globe-trotting thing.
Yeah.
It works way better than anything that's come after it.
Yeah.
It works way better than anything that came before it.
Yeah. Also, the music, perfect.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Like
Da-da-da.
like that is I don't think you could have done any other
No.
score because
Yeah.
that is just that's it.
Yeah. And
Um,
it exists in like its own, like it's an adventure movie, but it's like an Indiana Jones movie is like its own thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like Star Wars is like, oh, it's opera, it's you know, it's whatever. You can't talk about Indiana Jones without just talking about Indiana. Like
Yeah.
it is the thing. If
Yeah.
that makes any sense.
Yep.
Like, because even again, like I said, even if you watch those old serials, none of them are like this. Like,
You're right.
he just took all those things he liked about them and like, you know, like I said, like condensed them and put them into this form.
Yep.
Like everything that's come after it, you go, oh, that's like Indiana Jones, right?
Exactly.
Like The Mummy. I love The Mummy, but it's just Indiana Jones with Brendan Fraser. Like,
fun fact, I've never seen The Mummy.
we should watch it. It's
All right.
fantastic.
Let's do it.
I think it is as good as Temple of Doom.
Okay.
So if that
Yeah.
tells you anything,
Okay.
but anyway, I'm getting off track.
No, it's
yeah.
fine.
It's
Yeah.
hard to talk about a movie that everybody else has talked about for 30 years.
You're
That's all I'm
right.
saying. But
Well,
40 years, Jesus Christ, 42
50
years,
years.
almost 50.
Almost 50.
No, 81
Oh,
to 23.
I thought it
52,
was 70.
42.
Yep.
Yeah, 42 years.
What was it, 70?
81.
Oh, 81.
Yeah,
I keep thinking 70s. Fuck me. Jesus.
that's all right. Their brain's going, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this movie so much. There's a reason I watch it every year on my birthday.
Yeah.
Not just this one in general, just Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to my dad who showed him to me for the first time.
Shout out to Tom.
Yep.
We love Tom.
Yep. I can't remember how old I was, but I reached an age where he was like, all right, time to show you Indiana Jones. Time to really mold your childhood here and change your life forever.
Yeah.
And we watched, I don't know if we made like a marathon out of it, but I think it was like, we watched them in pretty quick succession.
Yeah.
Obviously we started with Raiders, and then we did Last Crusade, and we didn't actually do Temple of Doom for the longest time, mainly because my dad didn't really like it, and he thought it might be a little too graphic for me at the time. Yeah. And so I didn't watch it actually until years later. So I actually watched the first two, or the first and third one a lot before I even saw Temple of Doom. And then when I finally watched Temple of Doom, I was like, okay, I get it. But this is also really fucking good.
Yeah. I love Temple of Doom.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I mean, we'll probably do an episode on it maybe next year, but what lets Temple of Doom down is its problematic stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, story-wise, I think it's just as good as, you know, the other ones, but what lets it down is that exaggerated, like, South Asian depiction that is like hard to parse these days.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's got some good stuff, it's got some bad stuff, but it is really hard to watch it and be like, oh, they're eating monkey brains.
Yeah.
You know, but again, it is of the time. Like, you can forgive it in the sense that, like, we're not doing that anymore.
Right,
you know?
we've moved on.
We've moved on. You can enjoy it as an artifact of the past.
Yeah. I love in just recently the actor of Short Round.
Yeah, Ke Huy Quan.
Yeah, he won that award.
Yeah.
And he like shouts out Harrison.
Yeah.
And that entire movie, because that's like what kickstarted his career. And there's a great picture of him and Harrison at the awards, and they're like hugging and stuff.
It's very nice.
It's just really awesome to see that people are growing up and still succeeding.
Yeah. I think it's great.
Oh, it's awesome. So,
but anyway, I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I think that's all I got.
Okay. Well, we've come to the end.
Yep.
What do you rate it out of 10? Out of whips. 10 whips. How many whips out of 10 whips? Cool whip.
9.9.
Woo-wee! They're whipping and whipping.
Yeah. 9.9.
9.9.
Yep.
What's the 0.1 deduction for?
Last Crusade is better.
Okay.
the 10 is reserved for Last Crusade.
Okay.
And Temple of Doom 9.8.
Spoiler alert.
I know.
Gosh. Oh, how do you even... I don't even... 1. No.
Terrible movie. 0.
I hated it. No.
Negative 10.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. 9. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
I can't put into specific words why... No, fuck it. 10 out of 10.
10, there you go.
It's a 10 out of 10 from me, boys.
There you go.
We did it.
Excellent.
It's my first 10 out of 10.
Hell yeah. We did it.
I can't think of any... I can't criticize it. Like, I
know.
can't... Maybe it's just me. I can't separate, like, my little boy brain from, you know...
Exactly.
Because it is wrapped up in, like, nostalgia.
Yeah.
And, like, there is, like... It's just hard to not, like, see it as a 10-year-old boy. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah. 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. Understandable.
That's all I got.
Yeah. This might be our highest rated yet.
I think it is. Yeah. It definitely is.
What about Triple R?
Oh, Triple R I gave like a 9. I gave an 8.9 or something like that.
Okay.
You gave it like a 9.3 or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one else has done it, so at some point I gotta like go through and like make a chart of all of them.
Yeah.
I wrote the very first episode. If you go back and listen, I'm like, I'm gonna write it down so I don't forget, and I stopped doing it after episode 1. So
well, there you go. Hey, you know, it'd be like that sometimes.
And you know what? I don't really like re-listening to the podcast. It may surprise some people.
Yeah.
I don't like hearing myself blab on for an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I'm the one who edits it, and I have to hear me say the same things like 20 times in a row.
Understandable.
And I get real self-conscious about the way I talk sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I forgot what I was going to say, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you like the way I blab on sometimes, what should they do?
They should like, comment, and subscribe.
That's right. And if they were to give us a review, what kind of review should they give us?
Glowing.
A glowing review. How many stars out of 5 would that be?
6.
6 out of 5 stars. You heard it here first, folks.
Yep. Break the scale.
Break the scale.
Figure it out.
If you are on Spotify, all you got to do is just tap that little star and it'll pop right up.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on Stitcher, if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you're on Podbean, leave us a nice written review. That would be much appreciated.
Or just say hi.
Share this with a friend if you care. If you don't care, then don't.
Then don't.
Then that's fine.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. I don't. At the end of the day, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. We're just doing this for the shits and giggles.
The shits and gigs. If you have something you'd like to tell us, if you'd like to shout at me about the fact that I said that Indiana Jones was an idiot,
or that it was better than New Hope.
Yeah, you can email me specifically
Yeah.
at Santi. No, you can email the show at. You can email me. You can email the podcast at Viva. I'm going to cut that out. You can email the podcast at vivalaaction@gmail.com.
Oh, we're on Instagram.
Oh,
And TikTok. And Facebook.
yes.
Viva La Action.
At Viva La Action everywhere. In fact, go over to TikTok because I've been posting some hits lately.
Yeah.
I've been killing it over there.
Yeah. I gotta start learning how to use that app.
Yeah.
I think my first TikTok might just be learning how to fucking use it.
Yeah, I'll show you.
All right.
And head on over to Instagram. Follow us there. We're almost at 100 followers.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That would be super cool if we could get there.
Damn, 100 motherfuckers.
100 motherfuckers who...
Hell yeah.
At least 10 of them are real people.
We bought the other 90.
I get a concerning number of bot follows, and I
Well.
don't know what to do about it. Like,
Yeah.
occasionally, like, I post a photo, and it'll get, like, 2 likes or whatever, right? Because, like, wonderful
Right.
engagement. Gotta love it.
Great.
And then I get a follow from, like, some random person, and I'm like, you're a bot.
Yeah.
Either you're a bot, or you're just, like, following me, so I follow you back, and
Yeah.
then you unfollow me.
Yeah.
So, let me just pull up my most recent.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call somebody out on air. Sorry, TikTok was open.
Oh.
Let's see. Gotta pull up the Instagram.
Every day when I get on Tumblr. Oh, we should make a Tumblr.
Like it's 2014.
Yeah, we'd do numbers on there.
So PRV_Rafa. If you're real, write in.
Yeah.
'Cause
Send
if
us an
you're not,
email.
I'm gonna block you. No.
Every time I open Tumblr, I get like I've been followed by like, I don't know, at least 3 porn bots.
Yeah.
It's like they have nothing on their blog. It's just a photo of some generic woman.
Yeah.
And then their bio is just like the most fucked up. Like, I'm like, what does this even mean?
It's like, show me your peen.
It's just like Chicago cherries. And I'm like, what? And so every day I have to block and report at least 3 bots a day on Tumblr.
I like to imagine it's the same, like,
Oh,
guy
yeah.
who just
Yeah.
keeps sending them at you.
Yeah.
Somebody who's got a vendetta against you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna get their credit card one of these days.
Yep.
But, how do we end the show?
I don't know.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks.
Don't.
Shout out to my coworkers if you're listening.
Oh, yeah. I always do a silly little thing at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Grayson's coworkers. If you want to find Grayson, you can find them rapidly clicking a mouse at PetSmart. That's right. It's a real mouse, not a computer mouse.
Yep.
And you'll find me behind a dumpster eating pancake mix.
Nailed it.
Thanks for listening. We'll
Yep.
talk to you next time.
Yep.
Bye.
See ya. Love you.
Please leave a message at the beep.
Beep.
Beep.